Hello again, race fans. Welcome back to H1 Unlimited's live streaming and coverage of the 2024 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair, and welcome as well to our fans here along the shoreline on Lake Washington. My name is Brad Luce. I'm joined on start-finish by John Walters. We had a couple technical difficulties right there involving a power outage, etc., and so we're a little late coming on the pipes right now, but we are ready to go. John, are you wired up and hearing everything?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I think we're ready to go on this end too.
We are ready to go, and we're coming up on 30 seconds to a 5-minute mark for our Heat 1A. We've got 4 boats ready to go. Quickly, we'll run it down. It is boat number 1, the Beacon Electric with J. Michael Kelly. It's the U9, Beacon Plumbing with Corey Peabody. Dave Vilwalk is in this one, and the U27, the Miss Apollo. And rounding out our 4-boat field, it's the U40, the Flavor Pack, and Dustin Eccles. John Walters, we are inside 10 seconds to our 5-minute mark. The boats cannot leave the pit area until such time, and at that 5-minute mark right now, at that mark, there must be a crew member with physical contact with the race boat in the pit area. It appeared that they were that way as they were at the dock, and 1, 2, 3 boats are coming out right now just waiting on the Flavor Pack. But John, we've got a couple of minutes here. We need to discuss a new start procedure.
Yeah, this year a new start procedure has been implemented with a score-up buoy, and there'll be a given time that's dictated by the chief referee here as where they need to be. And basically, these days there's 2 starts before the race. They have to be at the score-up buoy at a particular time. If they're late or if they're early, they're penalized and have to start on the outside and behind everyone. And what that does is it guarantees, the score-up buoy is right at the start-finish line here. So they've got, roughly a minute and 15 seconds to get all the way back around the race course to the starting line. So once that score-up buoy, and once the score-up is good and they're inside that time frame, they've got to hustle to get around this 2-mile race course here in Seattle to get to the starting line on time, and that's really critical.
And the reason we are doing this, John, we and I speak on behalf of H1 because I was part of this particular decision. What we wanted to do was eliminate, or at least try and minimize, the amount of times we had boats disqualified before a heat even started. If you jump this score-up buoy, you're going to have to move to the outside, but you're not disqualified. As we've got boats cutting the race course, we are still fighting for lanes. So our score-up buoy is the start-finish line. Our score-up time is 1 minute and 15 seconds. So we're going to see these boats behind the start-finish line where Dave Vilwalk just crossed in the U27 Apollo. Here comes the 2 teammates. That's going to be J. Michael Kelly in the red boat on the inside. That's the Beacon Electric. Next to him is Corey Peabody in the U9 to Beacon Plumbing, looking for Dustin Eccles in the Flavor Pack. He, too, comes across the start-finish line. We saw a couple of our boats take that. We saw one of our boats cut across the race course and go to the back stretch. That is a legal maneuver where it was accomplished by Dave Vilwalk. So we're still fighting for lanes, John. It's just a little different in how we score up and have to be at the start-finish line at 1:15.
It is a little different, and it's very critical, and that's why the boats can't leave early. Your pit position can make a difference on when you get on the race course and how early you can get to the race course, and that's why the new rule reads that a crew member must be on the dock with a hand physically on the boat when the 5-minute gun goes off to prevent anyone from leaving early and getting a position on the race course that might be better for them than somebody else just because they left sooner.
So our boats are on the race course. We are at approximately 2 minutes and 8 seconds until the start. We've had, as I mentioned earlier, a power outage here on the start-finish line. It has affected mark 2 minutes until the start. We had a power outage up here. It has not only affected our clock system, and that's why our live stream viewers are not seeing it on the screen, but at the same time it has affected our video feed. We are monitoring it closely for those of you watching on the web and the H1 Unlimited YouTube channel. But John, here's the first piece to the puzzle on the start procedure. The boats are at the top end of the race course at 1:35. They have to be behind the starting line at 1:15. This looks like it's not going to be a problem at all because on my watch we've got about 8 seconds until the 1:15 mark. Here comes Dave. They're coming down. The field's coming at 16:15 mark. That looked to be clean to me. John will get it official on the radio, and it was a good score up, so everything's good now. Now here is the other piece to the puzzle. The boats are in their lanes right now, but those lanes are not yet established. They could still have a leapfrog up the backstretch. If somebody was to gain a 5 boat length advantage, they could move over on a boat to their left. They determine their lane at the entrance pin to turn 2. That is what we call the commitment buoy. That is when you commit to your lane. But John, what we saw coming off the corner and what we're looking at now, the boats are bunched up. Nobody is going to make a move from one lane to another.
No, I don't think so either, and there's not nearly enough time to do that. Jay Michael's got the inside now, right now, and looks like that's where he wants to be. Actually, most of the guys prefer lane 2 right here. It's a little bit better to get into there, and Dave Vilwalk's on the outside where he likes to be.
And we want to remind all our swimmers, you must be out of the water right now when the hydros are on the Ted Jones race course. It's time to get out of the water and enjoy the world's fastest race boats, the H1 Unlimited hydroplanes. John, we're squaring up and coming down to the start. We're inside 10 seconds from lane number 3. Dustin Eccles going to get down here first, but I think he's going to be a little bit on the early side. We'll have to check it. It looked like Eccles may have jumped the start, but we'll call them the way they are on the water. John, he's got a big lead down there. If he was legal, he's off to a great start, but that's a question.
He does have a big lead. He got into the turn first, and he's exiting the turn first. We've got 2 really fast boats on the inside of him, though, with Corey is pushing him really hard down the back straightaway, and J. Michael Kelly's taking the short course around on the inside lane.
I am told the start is good, so Dustin Eccles up the backstretch got about a 3 boat length lead on Corey Peabody. They get to the top end of the race course now. Peabody's pulled right up alongside Dustin Eccles. 3rd place on the inside is J. Michael Kelly saving ground on an inside lane, but Corey Peabody has driven around on the inside, gotten past Dustin Eccles. We're going to go 3 times around this 2-mile race course, and I'll tell you what, Dustin, he is flying the 40, the flavor pack, John.
Yeah, he's really got that thing rolling coming into the first turn here, and he's going to a little bit longer way around the race course. They've moved outside on him and pushed him out just a little bit. And Corey's working really hard there to keep him on the outside and not let him get around him. Jay Michael's got, the shorter way around the race course, but he just doesn't seem to have the acceleration off the exit pin here as the other 2 guys are driving away from him right now. Dave's on the back, coming up the back stretch here. They're struggling with some boat speed and just trying to score some points at this point.
Top end of the race course again is still Corey Peabody and Dustin Eccles. We were told the start was good, but I don't know. We're still looking at that one coming off the top end of the course. Either way, John Walters, this is a good deck-to-deck boat race here. The flavor pack showing some really strong speed, and Corey just had the boat get away from him a little bit. He had to pull his foot, and that's given Dustin Eccles an opportunity here as we start lap 3 to open up a couple of boat lengths on Corey Peabody. But Peabody is inside him now. Corey turns the corner first, but it's going to be Dustin, I think, on the outside that may show his nose as they come off the pin. They are virtually side by side. Corey Peabody, here comes Eccles, John, look at him.
It looks like one boat going down the back straightaway. They're literally that close. Dustin's on the outside there with just his nose starting to stick out there a little bit, but he's got much further way around the race course. They're out in about lane 3 right now. He's coming around, starting to square up the corner a little bit. Corey's running right on the buoy line and pushing him really hard. When they come down the straightaway here, the wind's right in their face. Corey had the boat get up on him a little bit there, and he had to come off the pedals some, and that let Dustin drive out in front of him. But Corey's showing some really good speed here, but Dustin's got big time top end on him.
He really does, and you saw Corey Peabody beat him to the line right there. He beat Dustin Eccles to the finish line by about a boat length or 2. Our 3rd place boat is going to be the Beacon Electric on the water with J. Michael Kelly, and coming home in 4th place will be the Miss Apollo with Dave Vilwalk. Corey Peabody showing some very, very solid acceleration off the corners, but you are right, John. There was certainly some top-end speed in that flavor pack. Dustin Eccles has got himself a fast race boat.
He absolutely does. And, unfortunately for him right now, the top end isn't really something that you can use on this course because the straightaways are so much shorter. I would gladly come down and gear a little bit, maybe a smaller propeller to get him to accelerate off the pin a little quicker, get through those turns just a little bit quicker, and that's where the race was won. Not only did he have the inside lane, but he was just superior coming off the exit pin there. He could accelerate a little bit quicker. But boy, if this were a 2.5 mile race course, I think Dustin would have the setup right there.
All right, and we are being told now officially that the 40 did jump the gun. So the 40, the flavor pack, and Dustin Eccles did jump the gun. He did not run an extra lap, John, but that's part of some new rules this year. Instead of running an extra lap, if somebody jumps the gun like that, we are just giving them a 1-minute penalty. So what we're going to see is that 1-minute penalty on Dustin Eccles in the flavor pack is more than likely going to move him back into 4th place. Our 2nd place finisher will become the U1, the Beacon Electric, with J. Michael Kelly, and Dave Villwalk will come up into 3rd place. This is all, of course, on the water. That was the racing on the water. The boats have to go through tech inspection, and we will await for that.
There will be a tech inspection. They'll check the speeds and the fuel flow. This morning at the drivers' meeting, our chief referee, Jonathan Abbott, asked all the drivers to complete an extra lap after the finish, go around one more time. So either way, Dustin would have been, illegal finishers there. He did run the extra lap if that's the way they go, but I think it's a 1-minute penalty, like you say, so we don't have disqualifications. Either way, it moved him back to the 4th place position. So the team boats there for Beacon Plumbing and Beacon Electric finish 1st and 2nd, and that'll move Dave Villwalk up to a 3rd. And that 225 points for 3rd place is a whole lot better than the 169 he was working on when it looked like Dustin was out front.
Again, that is pending tech inspection. And one thing our fans are going to enjoy, John, is we are doing what I call running our heats on the 20s. And so every 20 minutes, we're going to have H1 Unlimited boats starting the next heat. So we started that heat at the top of the hour. We're going to run our next one 20 minutes later. They will be on the start-finish line. So you can expect we're going to be getting a countdown here pretty quick toward the start of our Heat 1B. But 1A didn't disappoint. We had some good racing on the water. The boats clearly are fast, and Dustin Eccles, he jumped the start, but he still showed me an awful lot.
He certainly did, and like you say, there are no easy heats these days. There's 8 boats here, and any one of these 8 are capable of winning this boat race. They're that fast and that well prepared. So I think that the fans are going to see some amazing races, and we saw that one that was deck to deck, even though Dustin was trying to make up a whole lap on everybody there, which he wasn't able to do. But the deck to deck racing, I think we're going to see that all day long, and it's going to get even better as the time gets shorter and we get ready for the championship heat on Sunday.
And that's what it's all about. Unlimited hydroplane racing for maybe a new fan here who hasn't seen boat racing before. The whole idea is to get your boat on the front row of the final heat and have an opportunity to win the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. And you get to the front row of the final heat by accumulating points and being one of the top 6 point getters to put yourself on that front row. And then at that point, it becomes a winner-take-all final heat. And at that point, we throw the points out the window and we run 5 laps around the race course, and the winner will pick up the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair for 2024. But we've got a long way to go before we get there. Our aerial shot there from our drone pilots giving us a good look at the Stan Sayers Memorial Pit area. John, the names just don't get any more important. You got the Stan Sayers Memorial Pit area, the Ted Jones Race Course. Anybody who's been around boat racing more than a couple of weeks knows those names.
Absolutely, and there's just so much history here. Like I say, this is the 75th running of the Seafair race here in Seattle. Boats have been coming here for a long time. There's so much history here, thanks to the Boeing Airplane Company and all the people that are sponsoring this race. Apollo for sure, Beacon Plumbing, and all the names that are on these boats here. There's just so much history and so much excitement that's this entire week. Seafair has parades, and they have the boat race and the air shows and all the things that are going on, and this is generally the highlight of that week's worth of Seafair events, and everyone looks forward to coming to the boat race. And you can see out there the log boom's got a lot of boats and that on it. There's people walking up and down. We've got a car show going on. We've got airplanes flying around, and the fastest boats in the world going in circles in front of us. So it doesn't get much better than that.
Not for a couple of guys named Walters and Luce. Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of other fans who feel the same way. We are glad you are with us, either here at Lake Washington or watching and listening on H1 Unlimited's live stream YouTube channel. Seafair would like to take this opportunity to thank Oberto. Oberto is proud to again be the official meat snack of Seafair. Whether on the shore or on the water, for over 40 years, Oberto has been synonymous with Seafair. Oberto, how Seattle snacks since 1918. Seafair would also like to thank Lumen. Strap in for high-flying, blazing fast internet with quantum fiber internet. Get symmetrical speeds up to 8 gigs at a price that is terrific. Learn more at q.com. Thank you to Lumen. Seafair would also like to thank the Tulalip Resort and Casino. Tulalip, the official resort and casino of Seafair. Along with Swire Coca-Cola, the official beverage partner of Seafair. And we don't want to forget the Washington Athletic Club, the official athletic club of the Seafair Triathlon. John, we're already inside 10 minutes to the start of our Heat 1B. We're going to go racing with our H1 Unlimiteds again. Let's take a quick look at the 4 boats that are going to be coming out. It's the U11, the Miss Mercury's Coffee. Jamie Nielsen will be behind the wheel of that one. Going to be joined by young Bobby King in the Miss Graham Trucking, the U12. Then it's going to be, speaking of young, Gunnar O'Farrell driving the Gutters by Keith presents Boitano Homes. That's the U35. It is a predominantly white hydroplane trimmed in green. And then one that looks to be the class of this field, but only from the standpoint that they were our top qualifier, and they have won 2 of 3 races so far this year. It's the U91, the Miss Goodman Real Estate, with young Andrew Tate behind the wheel. That boat is black and gold trimmed in white. It's beautiful, and that gold, you know, I don't have to tell you, John, laying down a layer of gold on a boat is no easy thing to do, but that one is a thing of beauty.
It is beautiful, and they've done a really nice job preparing this boat. It always looks good. It's always, easy to inspect. Mike Hansen and all the guys down there, and this boat is, based out of Madison, Indiana, and sponsored by Goodman Realty. They are so eager and willing to, do the best job they can. Everything is nice and clean and easy to inspect. It's very transparent, and they do a great job of putting this thing on the water. They've had 2 really great races back east, and in our top qualifier here, Andrew Tate does an excellent job of making starts and getting the boat around the race course. Comes from a long line of boat racers. His father, Mark Tate, was a driver, and his grandfather, Joe Tate, drove boats. So I think it only makes sense that he comes from a long line of winners that way, and he's continuing to do so here. So I think he wants to make his dad proud. We got to see and spend a little time with Mom and Dad in Tri-Cities last weekend, and everybody here, the Mercury boat, Mercury Coffee Company, they're running really well right now. Jamie does a great job of driving that boat, and well prepared by Scott Rainey and everybody over there. The O'Farrell's, a family-owned and operated company, and a family-owned and operated race team. They always have an awful lot of fun there, and Rob Graham. We said thank you to Rob Graham and all his efforts earlier in the day, and this is the boat that his team put together to represent their trucking company, and it's going to be fun. These are all great boats. They're all very similar in shape and design, and prepared really well. Got great guys driving them. I think it's going to get down to who's going to make the best start and who gets the best lane.
We are coming up on the 5-minute mark, at which time our 4 H1 Unlimiteds can come away from the dock. Those watching on the H1 Unlimited live stream can see the lids are down on 3 of our boats. Probably on all 4, but our view right now shows 3. From the drone, we are 2 seconds, 1 mark. 5 minutes until the start of Heat 1B. That's your 5-minute mark, and now it is time to go boat racing. Here is who will be racing in our Heat 1B. It's the U11 Miss Mercury's Coffee with Jamie Nielsen. It is red, it is black, trimmed in white, and it is fast. Then there is the predominantly black and red U12 Graham Trucking with young Bobby King behind the wheel. The U35 Gutters by Keith presents Boitano Homes is white, trimmed in green with a checkerboard effect on the deck. It is driven by Gunnar O'Farrell, and the U91, the black, gold, and white Miss Goodman Real Estate, driven by Andrew Tate. The start of Heat 1B is just a few minutes away, and Seafair reminds you that for your own safety, safety and the safety of those around you, everyone must be out of the water when the hydros are on the Ted Jones race course. Now it's time to get out of the water and enjoy the world's fastest race boats. John Walters, I was reading some copy. What did I miss?
Well, everybody's kind of bunched up here. We've got boats cutting across the infield here to try and get a little better lane. That's Jamie Nielsen. He cut across. He's right at the start-finish line right now, going to get down into that first turn. The other three boats are pretty well all together in the upper turn in the bridge there. They're scoring up, trying to size each other up and still trying to get that inside lane. Like I said before, most of the guys here would prefer to be in lane 2. That seems to be the fastest lane around the race course, but lane 1 is always the shortest. So these boats turn so well, and there's not much of a handicap to be on the inside.
Keeping an eye here, just as part of this heat, I'm going to keep an eye on Gunnar O'Farrell in the U35. The Gutters by Keith presents Boitano Homes. He hooked up in a whale of a race last week against Bobby King. Yes, it was for third place, but it was a doozy, and Gunnar was pretty proud of himself that he was able to pull off the victory. Well, he finds himself lined up here again with Bobby King. Now, at the top end of the race course, it's Jamie Nielsen. You were mentioning lane 2 is probably the place to be, but boy, Nielsen's got a knack of putting that boat on an inside lane.
He absolutely does, and Jamie's one of those guys. I used the phrase earlier that he tends to qualify the boat faster than the numbers would indicate, and he puts himself in a position to be in that inside lane and makes really good starts right on the money. Andrew Tate over there does the same, so there's going to be a bit of a battle here as they get a little bit closer. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see somebody try to cut across the infield lane or infield here to try and get the inside lane and give themselves an advantage.
Coming up on 2:20 to the start. Again, our boats have to be behind the start-finish line at 1 minute 15 seconds. So they've got exactly 1 minute. 1 minute. John, this is where the 80-mile-an-hour rule comes into play. We got a couple of boats crawling up the backstretch, so that's going to be Gunnar O'Farrell and Andrew Tate. In the past, that would be a penalty, dropping below 80 miles an hour, but that's okay. That is okay for them to crawl up there like that. They don't have to worry about dropping under 80 miles an hour. If they had to go 80 miles from where they were and kill a full minute, they would never have been able to do it without jumping across the start-finish line. That's the new rule, and it looks like right now the boats are going to come off the top end of the race course with Andrew Tate sitting in lane number 1, Gunnar O'Farrell in 2. Again, this can change. Watch Gunnar up there as he comes off the top end. If he leaves room between himself and Andrew, and if somebody jumps inside him, and they are not going to, but again, we don't establish our lane. Now watch this. Here comes Jamie Nielsen. He's going to try and leapfrog across. He's got about 4 seconds to kill. Make it 2, 1. Mark, I think he is good. He's got to have 5 boat lengths to jump left. He's certainly got that. Jamie Nielsen, if he wants that inside lane, he can move over and grab it. He did do that, John. He used the new starting procedure and the score-up buoy to his advantage. Now watch him pull his foot, and now he just has to defend that lane against Andrew Tate. Great move. The score-up was legal.
That was an excellent move, and everything was 100% legal. He, the guys that got up there a little bit early, they sacrificed their speed and had to slow way down because they were so much earlier. Jamie laid back and waited for an opportunity to get after the power and just drove by everybody. Like you say, you have to have a 5 boat length overlap. You don't establish your lane until you get to the entrance pin of this turn up here. So he did an outstanding job. That's just the way it should be done.
Jamie Nielsen is in lane number 1. Andrew Tate's going to run in lane 2. It's going to be Gunnar O'Farrell in lane number 3. And on the outside, it's going to be Bobby King. Looking at my unofficial clock now, we're coming up on 13 seconds until the start. Now we are at 10. Boats are coming off the top end of the race course. Jamie Nielsen starts to put his foot in it, and they are driving hard to the line. We are for 3, 2, 1. Mark. Unofficially, it looked good from here, and it was a good 4-boat wide start as they blow down. We are being told it was a good start. Andrew's going to get down to the corner first, I think, in lane number 2, but Jamie Nielsen with that inside lane position is going to come off in first place, John. There he's getting some dividends, and look at Andrew Tate. Look at the acceleration off the corner. That's what you were talking about, John.
Yeah, they've got a great gear ratio and good propellers in there, so they're just, a rocket ship off of the corner there. Now, Jamie's in a bit of a predicament here because if when they get down there, Andrew has to hold his lane, and then that puts Jamie in a position where he's got to run right on the buoy line and not make any mistakes. We had that happen a couple of times last weekend where they took a hop, unhooked that skid fin, got in the water, and ended up upside down. So looks like Andrew's got a pretty good handle on things here right now. He's just running away from the fleet.
Lap 1 is in the books. It belongs to Andrew Tate. Then it is Jamie Nielsen and the Mercury's Coffee. I said I was going to keep an eye on young Gunnar O'Farrell. He's going to try and hook up again with Bobby King for third place. But down to the lower end of the race course, you see that lane position help Jamie Nielsen. He closes up a little bit on Andrew Tate and the Goodman Real Estate. But there's what John was talking about, the acceleration off that exit pin and that U91. The boat comes out of that corner like it was shot out of a cannon. And look at Gunnar O'Farrell now making a move on the inside. Bobby King, they hooked up a week ago, and it was a gem. Gunnar's trying to run him down again on the inside. Now coming off the top end of the race course, coming down to put 2 in the books with 1 more to go. He'll get a white flag. He is Andrew Tate. He's our national high points leader. He won both races back east, and he's looking strong here at the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair with 2 laps in the book. And here's the race for third, and it's side by side. Gunnar O'Farrell is pulled up alongside Bobby King. Oh, they are dead even, John.
It's going to be a drag race to the finish, and you can see what's going on here. Bobby's got the top end on him and drives by him when they get to the entrance pin, but Gunnar's got the shorter way around the course on a little better acceleration. So he comes off with about a 5 boat length lead, but they're just eating that up as they go down the back straightaway. Out in front here, Andrew's driving a good clean race. He's out in front. He's kind of backed off just a little bit, and Jamie's, he's leaving a good lane for Jamie, so he's able to drive through there and be safe. They're going to probably finish just the way they're looking there, and then we'll get them to the tech truck and see what happens, and we'll see what Seth has to say.
And here comes Andrew Tate. His spotters are just telling him where the good water is, and right now they're telling him it's about lane number 4. Andrew Tate will come home in first place on the water in the U91 of Goodman Real Estate. Jamie Nielsen will come home in second place in the Mercury's Coffee, and it's Gunnar O'Farrell flying the U35 Gutters by Keith presents Boitano Homes. He'll come home in third place. Once again, Johnny knocks off his good buddy Bobby King, and Bobby King in the U12, the Graham Trucking, will come home in fourth. I said, John, when I get one right, I got to bring it up, okay? It doesn't happen very often. I said keep an eye on Gunnar and Bobby. He got him again.
Gunnar did a great job there, and I mentioned earlier that every time Gunnar gets in the boat, he gets a little more confident, a little more secure in that thing, does a little better job. He's not doing anything silly. He's not taking any more risk than he absolutely needs to, but he's really working the boat hard. He's flying the thing down the straightaways and doing a great job. The crew's got it set up good with a great gear combination and propeller, and it's only going to get better for them as the day goes on, I believe.
Yeah, and John, we just got it in our ears, and I know you haven't been working with us before, but one of the new things we're getting this year from our officiating crew right above us, I keep talking about the fact that they are extremely transparent in everything they do. As you look at Gunnar and Bobby coming off the top end of the race course, I'm sure they're waving at one another there because that was a great duel. But we've had it in our ear, John, that the boats were clean on the water. So from our chief referee and the guys upstairs working with him, they don't see anything on the water that is going to change a call or impact our finish order. So now it's just up to Seth and the tech truck. Everything was clean on the water, and that's the way we want it.
That was a good job by all 4 drivers. Jamie did a great job at the start. I think he knew going into it that they didn't have the boat speed and the top end or the acceleration to really run with the 91 and the Goodman Realty boys there. But he figured if he could get a good start, get the inside lane and make them work for it, he was going to make them, give himself the very best opportunity he could. If Andrew would have made any kind of mistake there, he would have been by him.
He would have been there to capitalize. So our boats are going back to the dock. Those of you watching on the H1 Unlimited YouTube channel get a great look of the lid being popped open on the U91, the Goodman Real Estate. But a couple good heats of competition, and we were a little bit late coming on the pipes due to a power outage here on the dock on the first heat. But hopefully the fans watching here on the shore at the 2024 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair are now beginning to see how this start procedure worked. We saw Jamie Nielsen work it to his advantage perfectly. When the boats have to score up at 1:15, that's not when the lane is determined, and we had a perfect example of that with Jamie Nielsen. As he jumped the field, was legal behind the minute 15 score-up buoy, jumped the field, got more than 5 boat overlap, moved to the inside lane, and a great drive by him. Just too much boat speed in that Goodman Real Estate.
They've got a great combination there and a great crew that knows how to put the stuff together. And Mike Hansen and that group, his son and his daughter both are working on the team there, and they've got a lot of experience together. They've got great equipment, and Andrew just gets every ounce of horsepower and does a great job of driving that thing through the turns and does everything that he can do to be put them in the winner's circle. So they're going to be tough to beat for sure.
Yes, they are definitely going to be tough to beat. Andrew climbs out of the U91 of the Goodman Real Estate, and he will get congratulations and so forth from his crew, but he will take that all in stride. This is not what he wants to win. He wants to win that first heat, but he wants to win that last one more. He will stay focused as he works his way off the dock. So, on the water, first place goes to Andrew Tate, the U91, the Miss Goodman Real Estate. Second place to Jamie Nielsen on the U11, the Mercury's Coffee Company, themercurys.com, U11. Then it was U35, Gutters by Keith, presents Boitano Homes, driven by Gunnar O'Farrell. Once again, he gets the better of the U12 and Bobby King, but good racing back in third and fourth place. So the heat was good as far as Heat 1A. John, we've got a note here. Our buddy Seth has been busy in the truck. Everybody has cleared tech inspection. So it is official now. Corey Peabody is our first place finisher in Heat 1A. He'll pick up 400 points for that. J. Michael Kelly will come home officially now in second place. Third to the Miss Apollo and Dave Vilwalk. They'll pick up 225 points. J. Michael Kelly gets 300. And then our fourth place finisher will be Dustin Eccles, Flavor Pack, but he ran a whole lot quicker. He ran a whole lot quicker than fourth place. He was running very hard. Unfortunately, he jumped the start. So that's Heat 1A and Heat 1B. Let's take a look at the schedule here because I think we are going to. And before we check the schedule, let's go down to Erica Allreed in the pit area with Andrew Tate. Erica, take it away.
Andrew, a lot of praise coming from the booth after that one. About your acceleration off the corners as you rocket past the U11. What is it about this hull and the way you drive it that allows you to make moves like that for the race win?
Honestly, it's a great boat and a great setup, great team, a lot of experience behind me. If we can get to the line 0, I think we're going to be in a good spot here for at least until Sunday afternoon, hopefully. But yeah, building block for the rest of the weekend for sure.
And you are always super close to that start when the clock hits 0. So what's your strategy been during the new race before the race?
Stay out of trouble, first and foremost. Everyone wants to be in one of the inside lanes. It's the shortest way around the race course. So we can keep putting ourselves in a position to be there and still have some boat speed at the start. I think more than anything, that's the important thing. So strategy, start good, finish good. That's it.
And the rest is history from there. Congratulations on that race, and we'll see you back out in Heat 2.
All right, thank you.
Erica, thank you very much for that interview with Andrew Tate. I think, John Walters, I've done about 10 interviews with Andrew so far this year, and every time he has said, I've got a great boat and I've got great equipment, and that's what you've been talking about. He truly does. I mean, it's good stuff, and he gets the most out of it.
It's very good stuff, and they've got a very experienced crew there. They're well financed, and even more than even well financed, the people are just willing to put forth the effort that it takes to make one of these boats competitive. And it's a lot of work. It's not easy, and you have to continue to get better. You just about the time that you think you're on top of the world and you've got everything you need to make the stuff work and to run fast and be good, the guys next to you catch up, and so it's even harder to stay out in front and stay on top once you've established that. So hats off to everybody from Madison, Indiana, and all the people that are working on that boat. They've got so many volunteers when they're in town there to take care of things. And I remember the old days when the Miss Madison was, sponsored, were their own sponsor, and they made money by bake sales, and everybody in the community put money and an effort into making this boat look good on the water and win races. So they've come a long way since then. I think they've won 10 or 11 national championships since those days. Many gold cups and world championships. So hats off to Mike Hansen and his family and everybody that works on that. Charlie Grooms that manages the team and is the guy that's in charge down there. So nice job.
And we'll turn it over now to Mark Christopher as we have to put our eyes to the sky as a U.S. Navy EA 18G Growler performance. Mark, take it away.